Alright, what's up guys? I'm gonna keep this intro short, but pretty much I'm just making a step-by-step tutorial on how to render on objects and shapes. So I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace. Alright, so we're just gonna start with a circle. Just gonna make mine blue. And then once you have this here, this is just my preference, but I usually like to make some sort of arrow just to kind of show where the lighting should be coming in. Draw one real quick. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then once you have your arrow, I mean, like, you kind of just see like where it should be hitting the circle. So be something like this. So then go back to the designer persona part, and then this is where you get your pen tool and you just start making shapes. So we're just gonna start with something fairly large since we're gonna be making a few layers. So just start with something like this. Once we're here, what I do, I just replicate the color, so I have it in my palette right up here, and I'll click on that to make that shape the same color. And then that way the slider's already set, so I can just kind of make a few adjustments just to brighten it up a little bit. So then once you have this shape, then you're gonna want to go to the effects corner, right, like in the corner right here. And once you're there, you're gonna go to Gaussian blur, and then you're just gonna slowly start like just bringing it up, and just kind of keep an eye on your shape and just kind of see how it's looking. So I want to make mine blend I want mine to blend like a big amount. So I'm just gonna start with this, and then after that, we're gonna leave that shape alone, and we're gonna start a new one. Just go back to the pen tool and just kind of start repeating the process. So you see right here that I'm just making a smaller shape, and I'll make this one brighter since you kind of just wanted to like slowly start like closing it on itself with like brighter and brighter shapes when you're on the side of the arrow, just to show like the brightness. So I'm just gonna tweak the shape of this a little bit because it's looking kind of funky. So this is just where I use the node tool. So pretty much you can kind of adjust any shape that was, any vector shape with the node tool. So it's pretty helpful. And then once you're there, got this new shape, I'm gonna go to the previous shape and I'm gonna replicate that color. So do that, and then I'm just gonna make it brighter, something like that. And then yeah, go back to the Gaussian blur. See, I didn't increase it as much as the last shape since I kind of want it to be a little bit more concentrated, so you can kind of start seeing like that light like kind of popping out a bit more. So you can also, it really depends on what you're making, because some shapes you'll need like a ton of like just layers on layers just to really show as much detail as possible. But if you're doing something bigger, I mean, you can only do so much that the human eye will notice, so a lot of it's fine. But then you can also see right here that the light is kind of like, the blue is kind of bleeding outside of the circle. It's because these two shapes, they aren't actually in the circle yet, so all you got to do, just select them both and then drag them in, and that way nothing is bleeding out anymore. And we'll just zoom out again, and you could add another layer, but I'm trying to keep this simple, so we'll just leave it for the two right now. And then I'm going to make some shading on the back, just the spot that isn't getting hit by the arrow. So once again, we'll start with something fairly big, since we're not going to make this too dark yet. I'll just make a really big shape here. And once again, then we're going to go to the original color and replicate it. And then you're just going to go to the slider right here and start darkening it just a little bit, like nothing too crazy, because you're going to add like another like layer or two afterwards. With Gaussian blur again. I'm gonna say something like that. And then also, what I usually do just to kind of save some time, I'll just copy and paste that shape, so I have two of them. And then I'm just gonna bring it closer to the edge and just kind of see what kind of works. So yeah, we already got it the same color, so we don't have to replicate it. It's already the same, so we're just gonna darken it once again. the Gaussian blur is already set since I just copy and pasted the exact same shape. So I'm going to darken it, but then I think I'm going to turn up the Gaussian blur a little bit so it blends in with the other color a little bit better. So yeah. Alright, and I think I'm going to increase this one a little bit. Just to kind of blend it a little bit better, so I'm going to increase the Gaussian blur on this one as well. Yeah, when you're doing rendering, I mean, like, you always just kind of start. The more layers you add, like, the more, like, you kind of need to, like, go back and kind of just, like, take a look to see if that's really what you want to do. So I think this is kind of good for now because since it's a pretty simple tutorial. So we got that. And then the other thing I want to show you guys, I want to show you how to use the transparency tool. So most of the time you don't really need, like, the transparency tool is only really when you're trying to make things reflective. So like for characters like that I do, I mean, if he has like goggles or something like that, I'll just kind of put it right around here just to reflect. So we're just gonna make another shape. And we don't use the Gaussian blur for this one at all. We just use the transparency tool. So something like this. I'm not really trying to make it this perfect right now since it's just a circle at the end of the day. But yeah, so something like this. Yeah. And then we're gonna make another shape. So this one's gonna be kind of like a small rectangle. And then once you have that there, you're gonna select both of these white shapes. And then after that, you're gonna go up here in the top right corner and press subtract. That way you kind of cut that one shape. And then after that, you just use the shortcut Y, transparency, and just start dragging and going over it. When you take a look, it's still kind of faded away, and that's kind of what you want. You want it to be pretty subtle. So depending on what you're making, I mean, I'll just kind of keep it like here, just to kind of show you guys. And yeah, so once you're there, I mean, you can just get rid of your arrow once you're done. But that is rendering. And in my newest video, I do use these techniques, except it is just going to be on a different shape. I mean, it is just a character, but if you guys like the video, go check that out, and then kind of see how I use the techniques in this video and like how I kind of applied it to that character. All right, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.